So what we got here, we got a piece of aluminum foil. I'm gonna scale this image so it's 2048. It don't even need to be that much. You can be 1024 by 1024. This is basically going to be Dorothy. I'll seamless tile it, map seamless tile, and I'm gonna export it as a DDS. Now I'm gonna export it in the folder that the unpacked mods are in. See, this is already a mod I was working on of a tornado that turns, but I'm gonna override it. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna override it. I may go back to work on that. So do what I do. If you already got a mod, just do what I do. I'll rename this to something else, just so that I can put it on the desktop and rename it back to what it was named. That way I got the original. Now in the original, I'm just going to leave everything the same as it is. Only thing I'll be doing is changing this little picture. Uh, I guess I'll just go ahead and make the texture name. I'll just call the texture dot D-O-T for Dorothy. Now the color map, that's what I'm exporting now. Export as, and in that folder, uh, here we go, mods, unpacked, twister, vehicles, twister, and I'm gonna add that here so I can get back to it quickly. So this will be called .dds. And since it's not a transparency map and it's not a normals map, it'll get BC1 compression type and generate bitmaps. If you don't generate bitmaps, your textures, if you're using DDS, they'll look crappy like when you use a JPEG. They'll have a lot of aliasing on it. Also, DDSs go straight to the GPU, whereas a PNG and a JPEG, they got to be converted first by the CPU. So DDSs are a lot more performance favorable. Oh yeah, the name of it is .dds color map. All right, so the next thing, we go in the blender and we make the little boxes. That'll be the little cubes. I'll just use this box. I know this box never gets any love. It's always deleted and kicked out and discarded by everybody. But today, we got some use for this cube. We're just going to scale it down. Apply all the transforms. I think a UVs will probably be fine. I'm going to add the material now. This will be called dot. That's what I made just a minute ago. When I filled out that main.materials.json, that's what I put in there. So now just the base color. So the image, let's see. I gotta add a shortcut into here, make things quicker. That way I gotta keep navigating to it. So this is the texture. I'd like to see our preview. I think that'll work. What y'all think? I think it'll do all right. I think it'll be just fine, just like it is. I think Shit, let me just check the UVs. I can do a little better than that. I can do a little better than that. Just scale them all. Oh, hit A to select all. Scale them all. That's why you want to use a seamless tile. A seamless tile will look like where that one ends, that one begins, and that one ends, and the next one begins, and you know what I mean? If it wasn't a seamless tile, then you'd be having this issue. I'll just re-export it and you can see what it does. May have to reload it in here. All right, so now you can see what it does when it's not a seamless tile. That's why it's important to do that. If you're making something like this, then that's what you need to do. All right, now let's import in a car from the game. I got this one that I always import. It ain't actually called Wood Brake. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong damn thing. It's on the desktop, dummy. All right, so pretend. You know what? Actually, I got a truck too. I can import in the truck for scale 2. All right, so this will be our little Dorothy cubes. I think I'll make them a little smaller. So I think that's about the size we probably want right there. Any smaller, you may not be able to see them. That's the thing. I may have to exaggerate the size just so you can see them actually. And I'm not sure that they're not going to explode when they come in contact with the water. I have a problem with J-beams and water where they just want to explode, and that may be what happens with this. Just a fair warning before you invest your time into making this and realize, oh, that was all for crap. It ain't going to work. All right, so this thing's origin needs to be set to the 3D cursor, which right now is at its home position, which is 0, 0, 0. This little thing here is a 3D cursor. It's easy to move it somewhere else. But if you want to put it back home, you go up here to view and you say go back home to 0, 0, 0. Now it's home. See, this little orange dot in the middle, that tells me that the axis for this thing, if I try to rotate it, is where the white dot, or a little orange dot rather. You probably can't see it. It's a little bitty dot, little orange dot. See, this is good to have it right here if you're trying to, manipulate and move things. But when you're ready to send it to the game and it needs to be in its own, it needs to be linked to this. So you set the origin to the 3D cursor, and I always hit apply all transforms. I think you have to hit apply all transforms or it's not going to do everything, especially if you're scaling an object smaller like I did. But it's just such a habit, I forget to do it sometimes. I probably do it more than I absolutely need to. So now these are going to be the little cubes that are going to be inside the little container. So I figured I'd probably make them like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll probably make them like maybe like this. Actually, you know what? Let's get crazy. Let's make a one more wide and one more this direction. It'll be a little crazy today. Oops. I used to always watch Bob Ross paint. I used to think it's funny because he's such a pleasant speaking, very soft tone person. All right, today we're going to paint. We're going to paint this little landscape, and yeah, just the soft nature of his talking. Like sometimes he would say, "All right, I think let's get crazy here. Let's do something crazy." And he'd take his paintbrush, he would dip it in like a dark color and then smear it all the way across the canvas. And they're like, "Oh no, you just ruined the canvas, man. You messed up your painting." And it ends up being a really pretty tree when he's done with it. So that's like when I say I'm gonna make this like just a little bigger. So it's like, yeah, let's get crazy here. Uh, old Bob Ross, yeah, he used to paint. So watch his videos. Now you can see I'm just duplicating these. This will be the total amount of Dorothy's. I don't think we need any more than that. So now it would be a tremendous pain in the rear to make a different group for every one of these. It'd be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A1, A2, A3, or A, B, B, C, C. You basically have to make a lot of groups because each one of these things is going to have their own little coordinates. So what I do, I'm going to select them all by hitting A. I'm going to go into edit mode. Oh crap. You know what I did, folks? Like a dum-dum, I added all these damn cubes in edit mode. No, I didn't. I thought I damn combined them with the truck. See, we're done with the truck now. Actually, we're not. Let's hide the truck for now. We're still going to need it. Just for reference. We don't need it for the mod. It's just for reference. So you can see when I select all these where all their little dots are, right? That's where their origin is set to. The 3D cursor. But that's not where I want these to necessarily be. So I'm going to move them so that they're dead center. Now you see where their origins are at now because I moved it. I have to reset the origin to the 3D cursor. Apply all transforms. Now they are all there. All of them's the one point of origin, that little dot. So if I rotate them now, they'll all follow that little dot. Now this isn't how they'll rotate in the game. This is just how they rotate in Blender. Now what I got to do, save my file. About at this point, it's a good time to save. Now I will, in edit mode, hit A, select all faces, face triangulate faces. That is going to basically connect all the faces so that instead of quads, we got triangles, which is necessary for a J-beam, which J-beam supports quads also, but I don't know how to use quads yet. I haven't really found a reason to use them. So I just stick to the way that works for me. Now all these things are going to be joined into one thing. So in object mode, object join. Now they are just called cube, which I'll rename just dot. We don't need the light. We don't need the camera. We just need dot there. Now, I will attempt to export this J-beam, but before I do, I'm going to give the prefix of DOT, dot. You'll see what that does when I export it. File, export, JBeam. Successfully exported one JBeam file. Where did it send it? Well, if you hit this little thingy here, it'll tell you where your export path for your JBeams are, which if you save your files on the desktop like I just did, then the export folder will be where that file is saved. If I had saved this Blender file in, say, new folder 10, then inside a new folder 10 on the desktop, if it was on the desktop, there would be a new folder called JBeam Exported. That's where your it can be confusing because you can save an exported JBeam file to any, I mean, you can save a Blender file to any place on your hard drive, but then you'll forget, oh, well, when I make a mod, well, that's also where the export folder is going to be. You can end up with like 5 or 6 export folders, and it's confusing. If you can just keep everything in one place, this ain't the best place for all my Blender files because they're starting to clog up my desktop. But it does put my JBeam export folder right there. So cube or dot, what was it called? Dot. Where are you at? There it is. Let's open it up. So what the exporter, JBeam exporter for Blender gave us, it did fill out the name of the mod, which is dot. It did give us all the nodes, which you can see now that's where that dot come in that you saw me add right here. These are our nodes. And then there's a whole lot of beams, and then there's a whole lot of triangles. But this won't work by itself. It needs more stuff than this. All the exporter can do is just basically export just these 3 things: nodes, beams, and triangles. You still have to have like a blank JBeam. That's what I call it, like a reusable JBeam, that like this one here. Basically, it has everything filled out, and you just add to it the stuff from Blender. So it's not that complicated. It sounds complicated, but it ain't that complicated. Probably knowing what causes errors is probably the most complicated thing, because unless you've made a bunch of things and a lot of errors happen and you had to figure them out, then sometimes things happen you don't really quite know why. You can just have one little thing wrong in the JBeam file, and it can mess up the whole mod. Won't even show up when you go to load it. So this is the Twister JBeam, which was repurposed from the earlier experiment. I just have to change the name of the mod to dot to match the new mod, but I didn't. Wait a minute. I said I was going to leave it. Look at me. I'm confusing myself. I'm going to leave it as Twister because it's already filled out that way. Like the folders are called Twister, the mod info already has Twister. I mean, I could change that to dot. Maybe I should, let me see how to do it. Just change it to dot. That's all you gotta do. Change that to dot. Change this to dot. Change the name of the 2 folders that are in the here. Rename that to dot. And rename that to dot. Damn it. Dot. Don't worry about the loo. Don't worry about that. That's just another texture. I was working on something else. I wish I could save some room and delete that stuff, but let me think. Phone just distracted me. All right, so this is exported. Now we just have to export the DAE. Export DAE, which is, this mesh. Export as collider. See what I did? I renamed that damn folder. Now I got to put another shortcut. Get rid of that one. Well, hell, I'm not sure how to. Damn, it won't let me remove it now. Oh well, I ain't gonna worry about it. Dot. So woodbreak.dae. Let me go ahead and change this to, and I'll just call this dot.dae. Which, shit. I exported 2 objects. It's only supposed to be 1. See, I hid the truck, but see, it still don't know that. It still thinks you want to export that too. So export DAE. This time put selection only. And the material's already in there, but it don't hurt to let it copy it in there again. Now what we have to do is just go into our I'm going to rename this also to .jbeam. So now we have this .jbeam. Now this has the old mod, so before I get too far into this, let me delete these. We're not going to be using this stuff. Basically converting this back to a more or less a blank JBeam, where it just has just the essentials filled out. All right. We got us a blank JBeam. Those node weights aren't going to be 200. I'm making about, maybe not even 5. Make them 2. But since the node weight is 2, then the beam spring has to be reduced a lot. You can't have too light and too strong of a spring, or it'll basically implode. Now, it will not deform and it will not break, but they can bend at, I guess, 100,000 Newton forces. So now what we need to do is we need to go to that export folder right here, JBeam export, and load the exported. Well, that wasn't good. Now they're both got the same name. But it doesn't matter. This thing knows the difference between the two. I shouldn't have done that. I should have named the other one something else. Just so it's not confusing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Just so you don't confuse yourself. So here are all the nodes. Nodes have a node name and they got a location. These locations are X, Y, Z. If you really wanted to know more about that, you can go into Blender and you can go into edit mode and you can pick a vertice, which is a node. You can pick like that one there, and then you can go into view and, or I'm sorry, item, and it will tell you its XYZ location. In the old days, people had to manually type all this crap to make a mod. A lot of work. But thankfully, the exporter does all that for you. So all these nodes go right here under Group A. Now the flex body, this is not a cone. I renamed that to dot. This is this. This is what it's looking for. That's the mesh. Don't be confused with the name of the that. It's the name that's next to the triangle. Dot. And that's the texture. Dot. That texture is what you put here. Dot. 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 So now we got our nodes over there. Now we're going to put our beams over there. I suggest you just left click, go all the way down to where they stop, hold shift and left click again. This makes it easy to grab them all and just drop them all right there. Now this break group doesn't apply yet. I haven't implemented it. But basically you can make a break group, which means, or you can name it whatever you want to name it, but basically what it would tell the game is like, if this breaks, then all of them break. Which we'll get to that. We're not to that point yet. So next we take these triangles and we stick these triangles in the triangles. Some of you may say, well, how does this convert into Blender? What is this in Blender? What is a beam? What is a triangle? And what is a node? Well, a node is just a vertex, a vertice. It's just a single dot. A beam is a line that is connected to two vertices or nodes. That is a line or edge. It's called an edge in Blender, but it's called a beam in BeamNG. Then the triangles are triangles. Now if you notice the triangles here, there's three names. Well, that is the three nodes that make up this triangle. You got that one, and that one. And likewise with the beams, if you pick a beam is just a line connecting two vertices. That's why here you just see two vertices. And then of course its location is determined by where the nodes XYZ is. So that's that pretty much. Can't think of anything else at the moment other than the reference nodes, which I haven't done yet, which I'll do that later. We're going to save this and we're going to give it a test run. I'm going to really quickly show you how to take a picture, take a screenshot of this. Go into your photo editor, paste it. Crop it 2:1. This will be your preview picture when you go to pick your item. Flatten image. Now scale it. See, it's too large. Scale it to 800 by 400. If you scaled it 2:1, you just put 800. It should put the other one at 400 for you. Sometimes I've seen, I don't know why the hell it happens. Sometimes I'll crop things and for whatever reason it'll say like 801 and I'll say, no, make that 0. Like you'll have this on there and I'll say, okay, damn it, that's not right. It's supposed to be 800 and then it changes this one to 399. If that shit ever happens, just click that little damn thing there and it'll let you, it'll unlink them so you can manually type it in. Now this will get exported as, and once again we go back to our, damn, I didn't put a shortcut in here. It's good to have shortcuts, man. You get tired of going and hunting down these damn folders, especially if you're going to be working in it a lot. It's good to just add it. That way it's easy to get to. So this is going to be called default JPEG. I'm overwriting the old one of this house and replacing it with this new image I just took. Now I'm going to crop it to 1 to 1. Flatten the image. Now I'm going to change the resolution to 96 by 96. I'm going to export this as, now look closely, in the unpacked folder, in the first folder, dot, we got mod info. I'm not sure if it's PNG or JPEG. I'm going to guess, it don't matter. Icon dot JPEG. Maybe PNG. Not 100% sure. But this will be the little icon that you see in the small one that you see when you pack or unpack a mod. All right, let us load our .3 or .1, whatever, Dorothy, and see how she performs. We should see a bunch of boxes that just fall to the ground because there's nothing holding them. They're just in the air. Just in the air floating, but they'll fall because of gravity. And sometimes you won't see anything when you spawn it because you made a mistake. But don't just quit. Make sure that your thing still spawns. You can hit Control B to see what it is that you spawned. Hopefully we won't have that problem. Cool. No problema. There is .3. I put it in slow motion. So like I said earlier, these things don't have physics that react to each other, but they will all react to the ground and the vehicles. But since they're kind of like all joined, it's far less GPU, CPU intensive than if you would have had them like all individual groups. I'm not 100% sure, but I would think that's pretty much like having something have a lot of draw calls. It's got a lot more to think about, but I ain't 100% sure. And remember, if you ever pause the simulator while you're moving something in edit mode, that'll be its place when you hit R to restore it to its place. Like I can unpause it. If I hit R, it'll put it right back because I had it in pause mode. Just remember, if you want it to stay where you put it in pause mode. But also be mindful. Also be mindful that man, sounds like the yeah, you know, these little boxes, man, they can explode. They didn't tell you that in the movie Twister, but they can be volatile. I don't know why this happens. It's a funny glitch though that happens a lot. I'm not really sure why it happens sometimes, but I've seen it happen many times. But the good thing about having all these, you can have a crap load of these and it won't affect your performance like having a lot of other stuff. Like you see these other people that make these really great videos on YouTube with all these different objects at one time. That did slow me down though, for some reason. I just got out my mouth. I said, damn, you can spawn a whole lot of these things and it don't affect performance. You know what? It seems like everything I say, the game makes me a liar. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket today, and I'm not gonna win. I bet I don't win. Shit, that performance sucks. I might only be having one thing of these cubes. It shouldn't have mattered. I'm not sure why it mattered. It didn't used to. Well, maybe I'm overlooking something. Damn, not quite sure why. Just another time, somebody says, yeah, you don't know what the hell he's talking about. Look at that. Couldn't tell you. Well, we ain't gonna worry about it. I ain't gonna troubleshoot it. I'm just gonna go back to the plan and make what I said I was gonna make. Not worry about all the details. Maybe just, damn, not sure. I've done something similar to this before and spawned a whole lot of them. Well, it's not important. Let's get back to Blender because we got to make the container that this thing goes in. So the container will be just a cube, not a cube, a damn cylinder. A cylinder, a mesh cylinder. It don't need to be that many damn vertices though. Simple. Simple is better. Now in edit mode, I will remove that face, but I'll leave the one on the bottom. Now here's what's real important. If you're making something that's a container, like this is a container, then you're going to want the orientation of those faces to not be flipped. You don't want the inside red, you want the inside blue. That means the normals are reversed, which I forgot to check the cube. I could have very easily had all of them inside out and not realized it because I didn't check it when I made that very first cube before I started cloning it. So what I'll do is I'll take these faces and I'll select them, I'll hold shift and I'll pick them all like this. And I'll say, no, this is in edit mode by the way. Mesh, normals, flip. Oh, I got to do the bottom too. Mesh, normals, flip. So maybe, let's see, let's make this a shorter Dorothy. Since I can't have double the amount of blocks, I'll just scale it so it's kind of like that. I know it's not movie accurate, but what can you do? We are limited by our computer's performance, not by our imagination. So that'll be dot. I'll just give it the same texture for now. Once the thing works, then I can do more with it. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this truck out of here. And I'm gonna give this the same texture as the cubes. But it's just temporary. I can turn this off now. It's face orientation. You know what? Let us just go to Bing. And let's just get a picture of Dorothy. Isn't what I was expecting to see. Damn, Dorothy got old. Ooh, this is perfect. I'm gonna find a good picture of dot 3. Maybe this one. That'll be fine for our purposes. Uh, that is kind of ugly though. Let me just find a picture of Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. Preferably a cartoon drawing. It'll probably be alright. Now, I just need to save it as, I'll just call it something, Then in my photo editor, pull it in and crop it. Crop it so that I can make it a DDS format. You don't have to do that. You can use PNGs. I like to have more performance. So I'm going to make it a DDS, but I already know it's not going to easily, it's not power of 2 now. Or maybe it is. We'll crop it 2 to 1 or 1 to 2 and see. No, that is to crop it. So now it's cropped 2 to 1. Now I can make it power of 2 by changing this to, oh, I don't know, 1024 by 512. That'd be fine. But why not go one step farther? You know what? Let's just do it this way. I know I'm an indecisive. I'm so indecisive. Always been that way. Never can make my mind up. Alright. So alright, I'll be right back. 1 second. Alrighty. How did that thing look? Number 4. That's a .4, Dorothy 4. Damn, I know I'm terrible at spelling. Yep, I was wrong. How about that? Or I think I like that way better. All right, flatten image. Let's make this power of 2. Export as a DDS into our mod folder of dot. Or let's call it dot dot. No, we call this one Dorthy dot DDS. There's no transparencies. Generate bitmaps is BC1 compression type. Now in Blender, now I know you can do this without having to do this, but I'm not sure how you do it exactly. I just know how to do it by just separating the object, but I know you can do it without having to do this. But if I separate this by selection, and then I go into object mode and pick that object, then I can go back to edit mode, pick just these 2 faces, UV unwrap, and now I can go back to object mode, give this a second texture. This one won't be a seamless tile. And since we're at it, or since we went ahead and make this, copy that to your clipboard. If you copy it to your clipboard, you won't misspell it. We're going to take all this texture and duplicate it like this. Copy, put a bracket and a comma if there's a second texture, like we're putting, paste. Now if there's no more textures, it's just bracket bracket without commas. So this is Dorthy. This is what, oh shit, I said copy to the clipboard. Look at me, making mistakes. It's too early for mistakes. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many times I can misspell something. I just try to make sure I don't. Nothing more frustrating than a red texture than having to delete temp files to fix it. Now what did I call it? Dorthy.dds, I think is what I called it. God, I know my memory's bad. Bad short-term memory, but good long-term memory. Which is sideways and backwards. Well, you have to rotate it around there. Inches backwards. Shit. And she's upside down. Shit. I can't win for losing today, man. Now I know in the movie there's like a little fancy contraption that's made of metal that holds her. That's something else you can make. I'm not fooling with that today. This is just kind of like to give people an idea, you know, how they can make stuff. Maybe they want to expand on the idea. And I didn't put a whole lot of time into this, really. Alright, so now join these 2 objects back together as a single object. The 2 faces that I've made an individual object. Object join. Now this is a new flex body. This is going to be called Dorthy. Well, Dorthy. This flex body has to be included in the J-beam. See, like we got dot. Now we're going to have the other one for Dorthy. So I'll just copy, paste, and change this to Dorothy. And this will be group B. Did I spell that right? I guess I did. Alright, dang it. Yeah. So if you look close, you see this little orange dot here. That's because the origin is still set to the center of the object. So that has to be set to the 3D cursor. Apply all transforms. Hit A. Oops, wrong object. I think I just, damn it, get myself confused here. Now is a great time to save your work. Now I'm gonna be a little lazy, or an energy conservationist, I like to say. I'm gonna take all these. I'm gonna select A to select all the nodes. Now I'm gonna say Mesh J-beam nodes connector. What this will do is reinforce it with more beams. Now I didn't use this on these because just their shape and their triangulated faces is enough to sustain them things in the boxes, whereas this would fall in on itself and collapse. So now it's reinforced. Basically what that does, it connects every node to every node. And that's why I said you want less geometry, because you know that stuff can add up quick. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go back to object mode, because this is where the thing likes to crash. I don't know why, it does. When it uses mesh node beams connector, it's got some glitches. That's why I say save often. So if you can perform the nodes beam connector and it don't crash, then go back to object mode, then back to edit mode, select the faces, and say triangulate. Make sure you select them all by hitting A and then triangulate them. Now it didn't crash. That's another great time to save. You don't want to keep doing all that over and over. Now we can export this second object, Dorothy, as a as a J-beam. So she just got exported, and what did I forget to do? I didn't give it a new prefix name. Its default is in. You can do that one time, but just remember, each time you make something that's going to be in, it's better to just name them that way. It eliminates any confusion. Because if you got two things sharing the same, let me want to explain it. You don't want it to happen. Export J-beam again. Now let's export the DAE. Now this time we are not doing selection only. We did remove the truck, so we don't have to worry about it. Had the truck still been in there, we could have picked them both and said selection only. But in this case, we can now just overwrite the original .DAE with the one with the can or container, whatever you want to call it. Now all we have to do is see how we got this over here. We need to go into our export folder, and take Dorothy and drag her over to here. See how you can see the name that I just put just a minute ago. So we have group A here. We gotta have now a group B. We copy group A to our clipboard just to save time. Paste it and call this group B. it's important that you put group B or put whatever group you're going to name it there also, so if you don't have A and A, that'll cause problems. So here in group B, the nodes go here. Now, unlike how this has to have a group B, the beams and the triangles, they don't need anything separating them. Just remember, whatever you paste here, like from over here, just remember whatever you paste into here, they're going to use whatever is above it as far as the beam, spring, strength, and all that stuff, which is at the top where the nodes begin. The beams begin. You see beam, spring, dampening. Now there's a lot more stuff that can be put into here besides just this. This is the very basic stuff. Just like the essential stuff, just that it needs to function. There's a lot more involved things that can be declared in here. But it is possible to take this, copy it, and paste it if you wanted the other things to have different properties. It's also possible to give it a different node weight. There it is. Paste. Now, of course, this is using the same stuff as no, these don't have to be lined up perfect. It's just like, looks neater. That's all. See, now all these will follow all these, which this is the same thing as above. I'm just showing you how you can put different things if you wanted to have different ones. Now, as far as node weight, you can just take this node weight. What it's basically saying is every vertice in your object, that's what they weigh. Each of the vertices, their weight. So where I made all these cubes vertices 2, which I probably should have went a lot less than 2. They look kind of heavy. I'll just copy this to my clipboard and go down to where they start. And paste. And change these to something else. I do want that other thing to be stronger and weigh more. I don't know how much, maybe 20. And yeah, I think I will actually use a different one. I'll make these a lot stronger as far as when they can bend and not bend. I don't want this to bend. Like, I basically want this to be super strong. Damping, I'll mess with that. I'll leave that like that. And let's put the triangles in there and give it a shot. See what it does. Give it a load. It should work. Don't think I forgot anything. Now the game's already running. Reload the level. Let's see, dot 3 or dot 4. Hey man, I'm missing my damn container. I see my container, but I don't see the mesh for it. Like I said, if something's not visible, you can hit Control B to see the beams, nodes, and triangles, which is basically functioning. I'm just missing my mesh. So something went wrong. What could it be? Well, the name of the mesh is Dorothy. The name of the flex model is Dorothy. That shouldn't be a problem. Is the texture already? No, the texture, if it wasn't, shit. This may be one of these damn times where I got to delete the temp folder. But let me look first at the console. Vehicles. I don't have anything I'm worried about. It's got to be the temp folder. Got to be. Let's close the game. Go into the temp folder. Temp folder. Vehicles. Dot. Delete. And Havoc, if you happen to see this, this is where you delete your dummy in your temp folder, in your user folder, temp vehicles, delete. Because that's the CDAE. That's the cached version that is conflicting with your human dummy. All right. Let us try again. Let me double check the main .materials.json. Everything looks like it's correct. Make sure that's power of 2 by checking the resolution. It's 20. They're both dividable by 2. Shouldn't be nothing wrong. Should just been the temp folder causing the problem. Should. Don't mean it is though. So I don't know why this has happened. So it's good it happened because it can happen to you. And it's better you know what caused it so it don't happen again. Which I don't see an error for this. I did close the game completely, right? Let me make sure the texture is showing up. No, see, not even the texture is showing up. That way you know something's screwed up if you don't even see your texture in there. I mean, I see it here. It was created, but I don't see it in the vehicle selector. It didn't get assigned to it for whatever reason. So now I'm going to quit talking and I'm going to focus for a minute on what the hell went wrong. Re-exporting it. It's a damn mystery. Let me scrutinize the damn J-beam again. Shit. Dorthy.dds. Delete that. I'll just move this to the desktop. I know that's why my desktop's so damn messy, man. All these damn things, I keep moving to it. Default Dorthy dot. Let's look in here. Oh, should have known you didn't spell it right. Should have known. I can't spell worth of crap, man. Well, I don't ever read. I hate reading. Even Agent Y in the forum said, "Don't you ever read?" When I post questions. You surprised how much you can learn when you actually read. I've always been stubborn like that. If I get instructions how to put stuff together, I'll try to put it together without looking at the instructions. But as I got older, I realized, oh, I do look more at the instructions because I do forget a lot. All right, so that's interesting. We got shit. Why? Oh, why? Because the texture's not double-sided. It's not gonna show. Oh, it is double-sided. Well, I don't know. Mr. Balboa, Mr. Rocky Balboa, why is it that texture showing? I don't know. You know, it was alright in Blender, but in the game, I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I do this a lot. And I just sit and stare and I think. So my brain doesn't have a math coprocessor, so I have to analyze things for a long time before it finally clicks. What's causing that problem? Oh, oh, oh man, mucho sueño, mucho sueño. My brain has to think. I get sleepy. If I don't know something, I have to think extra on it. What's interesting is, I mean, it half-ass works, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna take a guess. It's the damn temp file again. Yeah, go ahead and blame it on the damn temp folder. You know that ain't it, but try it anyway. You never know. It's an easy thing to eliminate from the possibilities when troubleshooting. Just delete the temp folder. See if the problem lied in there. No, not every mod you make is gonna have these problems. It's just they're a pain in the ass when they do happen, and figuring out why they happen it can irritate you. And I'm pretty irritated now because this is not only is this a ah you realize now what you did, don't you? Yes, I do. I realize I made a mistake. You know what I did? I used that damn J-Beams node connector on this. I shouldn't have done that because once you do that, you can't move the damn thing or it'll screw up the mesh. I can't explain it. I don't know why it happens. Just know I'm not happy about having to do this, but I got to delete it. I got to make another one. But at least we got our textures made. Maybe I'll make this one a little more down. Let's see. I think what happens. I think what happens is when you delete faces that are critical to the main structure, like basically you're removing something. It just screws everything up. Now it does something to the beams. I'm not sure how to explain it. I'm not exactly sure. We're just going to do it a little different this time. I think what happened, see, yeah, it just clicked. I know what happened. You remember when I took those two damn pieces and I said I separated them and I made them a separate object? Well, when I joined them back together, it didn't really join them back together. It appeared that it joined them back together, but it didn't really. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm just going to do this like this and not add a second texture this time. Set origin to 3D cursor. Apply all transforms. Now this problem was just related to the mesh. It wasn't a problem with the actual J-beam, I don't believe. But that J-beam is not going to be valid anymore because we just removed all these beams that go in between and around and all that good stuff. The reinforcement. So we're going to export it again. Let me rename it. That way, it'll tell me in here what should have told me in there. There it goes. It updated it. So all this has to get re-spin over there. Now you see I forgot to put the damn name this time, so we get that default letter in. Like I said, you can do that. You can have that happen one time, but two times, as a developer said, something they had said about things can't occupy the same space. It'll break the space-time continuum or something funny they were talking about in one of the wiki pages. And mod, talking about when you're making mods that things can't occupy the same space, just like two people can't occupy the same space if they're the same person. Now it'll work this time. I have to blame the temp folder again if it don't. That temp folder's used to it by now. Look at that, it even fixed the damn texture. I didn't even tell it how to. I bet you that is from the CDAE file. Because I didn't give this new one, I didn't give the new object the second texture. I didn't. I can go into the temp folder and see. There's no texture for it. I always say if you're gonna make a mod, delete the temp folder before you share it. That way you know you're looking at the final version. Because you could be looking at the CDAE, like that's a CDAE. You may be looking at that and not realize it. And think, oh, I got it right. I got it fixed. But look, we'll load the level again and let's see that uh, you may see. No, it's still down. I don't know how that happened. I tell you, man, the game thrives on making me look like a liar. And that's again, happens again and again. That's why I said I'm going to go get a lottery ticket and I'm not going to win. What happened to Terry Martin Art? Oh, that guy, he won the lottery. He ain't playing BeamNG anymore. Yeah, see, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. You got to have reinforcements for something like that. You can't just not have reinforcements. So, oh yeah, this is also a side effect from having multiple objects combined as one object. You get a little polygon bleeding going on there, some stretching and warping. That's more just a warp than it is a bleed. Is when they like go out into infinity, but it's still basically the same thing. It's still, you don't really want to see that. But how do we fix this? Well, this is what the JBeam editor's for, which is also is used to make the reference nodes. Reference nodes just determine where the damn thing spawns when you spawn it, how far away you are, which direction you're looking at it. But if we load the JBeam into here, you'll see this cylinder. Now all I have to do to add more beams is to just you have to use the number keys on the number pad on the right of your keyboard to navigate in here. 4, 6, 8, 2, 7, 1, mouse wheel. So in here, we go to beams. We're going to add a single beam, but we don't want the beams to be added where the cursor's flashing up there. We got to go down to where the beams are for this, which are in now. We'll put a space. So here and here, I'm going to connect node to node, node to node, node to node, node to node. This basically just like reinforcements. It keeps this thing from, collapsing and whatnot. Now I got to do the same thing on the bottom. Do they all have to be? No, just get a few good ones in there. Think about this being like if you're going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. You don't want your barrel to break, so you're reinforcing it with little beams to keep it strong. Or better yet, think of like those bridge games where you make a bridge. I don't know if any of y'all played Elefunk on the PS4, but it was a cool little game where you had to make bridges and an elephant would walk across it. If you had your structural engineering on point, the bridge wouldn't collapse. But if you were not a Michael Schofield and you didn't know structural engineering, then it would be quite a mess. The elephant would fall. So here's the ones we just added. We can save this now, but before we do, let me just show you the reference nodes, how to do that. In here, you have to select and unselect. When you're done using something, you have to unselect it or it still thinks you're using it. Same thing with nodes. If you add a new node, you got to unselect it to not add a new node. Does that make sense? To move a node, you have to select a node like this and then say move node, which it didn't select it. Yeah, it did. And then move node to be able to move it, and then unselect it when you don't want to use it anymore. So all we need to do is show the node names. Now the reference node, it's hard to see, but they're loaded in here. The reference node goes here, the back node, the left, and the up. They go in those parentheses. They're just empty right now. So the reference node will be the node that is closest to, well, in Blender, where 0, 0, 0 is, which would be a node somewhere around here. One of these, really don't matter, just any of them. So let's just pick, how about N0, node N0. So N0 will be the reference node. So I know it's the same thing here that you just saw here. It's just a little easier to see. So I'm going to put N0 there. Or I could have added it in here, but it's just harder to see in there. Now, what's behind N0? Well, depends on how you're looking at it. I would say N14 is behind N0, so that'll go here, N14. What's to the left of node 0? Well, once again, that depends on what's the left. If N14 is the back and N0 is the reference node, then I would say NL7. It looks like a 1, but it's an L. NL7 would be the left node. NL7. Now, what is the up node? Well, the up node would be whatever node is above N0, if there is one. A flat plane wouldn't have an above node, but this isn't a flat plane. It looks like N1 is what is above N0, so that's what'll go up. Oh, did I not put the left one in? I thought I did. What did I say the left was? Shit. I tell you, that's short-term memory, man. NL6. NL6 is what I said was the left node. Why'd that? Shit, I forget. You can't have your damn mouse over here when you type. You gotta have it over on this side of the window or it won't let you type. See, if it's over here, it ain't adding shit when you type. You gotta have it in here. Even though, you see how that's flashing, and then if I move it, yeah. So what's above NL0? Or what's above N0, rather? N1. And that will conclude today's, this should conclude it. How far away do we want it to be when it spawns? Let's just put 10. Now, I'm not sure the distance minimum, what the I'm not sure how that, just make them both the same damn thing. FOV 65, that's fine. Now we just have to test our, so anytime you do work in one and you have it loaded in the other, it'll ask you, hey, something changed this, do you want to, yeah, let it update it. So now we'll try it and see how does it look now. But you're not going to get an accurate thing until you reload the level. So we got to reload. Hey, I don't see my damn icon in here for dot. Maybe it's got to be a PNG file. That's something I wasn't sure. Or if it's something that only you can... Shit. You may not be able to get an icon until it's approved by the repository. Because they got it. Let me show you. Let me double check. But they got a... let me extract him back into there. See, they got this weird folder in mod info that's got the info dot. See, I think this has to be assigned through the repo, this particular funny looking wording here. And see, it is a JPEG. Icon.jpg. It wasn't a PNG like I thought. And see, all this is the stuff that the damn game the repository ads. See, it's got the name of who made it. I'm pretty sure this guy here, B25 Mitch, I'm pretty sure that that is actually this person. Not to get sidetracked. I know I'm bad about getting damn sidetracked. Some of y'all ain't got nothing better to do than listen to me. You know what my wife said? I said, you know what? We got about 500 subscribers now to our channel. She said, that's 500 people that ain't got nothing damn better to do with their time. And to listen to me. This is Mitch Mitchell Saul, which I believe this Mitch is, he's got great videos on baking textures and stuff, by the way. Mitch is the Mitch here. I believe that's the same Mitch. B-25, that's a bomber plane from World War II, I believe. I think that's one I play in, War Thunder. Let's see, all this stuff ties it all together. I'm not quite sure. It might be a question for the repository, because I know we don't add all this. Car Killer said the repo adds all this stuff automatically. But I don't know, my icon didn't appear for Dorthy. It's a little disappointing, but I guess I'll live. I did spell it right. It is 96 by 9. Well, I don't know. No idea. Oh yeah, load the damn game back. Oh, it's already loaded. Look at me, man. Man, I'm not focusing today, folks. I'll be better in a couple days, though. Vehicles. Dorthy, dot, whatever. Now, as you can see, our lovely container is now, it's, looks like a container. Damn it, they went all Dorthy, went all over the place. Shit. Well, they got 2 more. And then we'll have to steal the one that the other guy made. That guy said, Twister, you stole my idea, you son of a bitch. No, he said, you stole my idea. Oh, you mean dot 3? You stole her, you bastard. You know that was my invention. Unrealized invention. See, we got the local Doppler and we got all the, yeah, that old dude had it all, but damn it, that tornado got his ass, didn't it? Yep. Dot 3 flew, but she flew in the damn tornado with the truck. And I realized too, by the way, that Dot has a damn, has a, whatchamacallit, shit. I think I need to make them damn nodes lighter. I forgot what I was going to say. I got dang distracted with the damn destruction she's causing my truck, man. So node weight will go to 0.0. Anytime you do a point, you have to put a 0. So node weight 0.5. The material is just the sound that it makes. It really don't. I mean, I'm just going to put cloth. I don't really want them things to make a sound effect, to be honest with you. Because there's just so many of them, they'll all be clanging and it'll just be ridiculous sounding. So this is just whether or not it collides with the world, or if it can collide with the world or collide with the vehicle. Fixed just means fixed. Exactly what it means. It means that dot ain't moving. I mean, not dot as in Dorothy. I mean the node won't move. It'll be fixed like an anchor. Because none of these are fixed. We don't want any of them fixed, or then it wouldn't move with the truck. Let's just try that setting. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. Friction coefficient. How much should it bounce? Or how much should it glide? 1.0 would be more bouncy than 0.01. 0.01 would be like a piece of glass. Oh, that's surface coefficient, volume coefficient. Oh, it's friction coefficient. This is the one that slides across the ground. One has to do with buoyancy, which none of these should make a difference in here. Well, I haven't figured out the buoyancy, and I'm not sure that these two actually work in here. I was experimenting when I tried to make things float in water, and I've still not been able to be successful at that. Oh, it is almost time, folks. Hopefully this will work, because I got to check on my ribs. I'm cooking some ribs today. I don't know why I just saved the level. I got some baby back ribs in the crock pot, then they're going on the grill. Good and tender, and then they're going to be caramelized. I have to do a YouTube video short for that. Caramelizing the ribs. Well, it didn't blow up, and it didn't pause the simulation, so that means the weights are valid, and they are much lighter indeed. They should bounce more too, as I increase that friction. Let's go ahead and move this thing. I guess I could show y'all. If you stuck around this long, then why not stick around a little longer? I could show you that that's with the one coefficient, or whatever the hell I said it was. Friction coefficients. Put that at 5. I don't think it's going to dynamically update in here. We can try it. I'm about to reload it. For that change to take effect. Maybe not. Maybe them cubes don't. Maybe they're too small to really have those kind of properties. I'm not sure. I'm still new at this stuff too. I'm figuring it out just like y'all. I definitely don't know everything. That's for sure. I'm only slightly... That paused the simulation. I'm only slightly smarter than... They are bouncing more though, it seems. Which is what we want. I'm just going to leave it. That's bouncing a lot too. Which I guess it would kind of bounce. Alright, Dorothy. Let's put you to work. You've been freeloading too long. I'm surprised my hard drive ain't run out of room. Alright, where are we going? We got a tornado to chase. Well, it ain't on this level. Yeah, I know. It's not on this level. The car ain't moving. Old Dorothy gonna be flying here soon. Also having that friction coefficient where it's at. You see how it's kind of popping around in there? It's not really sliding in there. It's gripping really good. Let me lower it. And it could too just be that this is snagged on part of the car. That's very possible. But that's a bleeding polygon. Name I come up with. I don't know what it's really called. Let's change this to 0.01. Save. Yes, we got to reload our level. I wish I had a developer build that I didn't have to do this, that everything was spontaneous. I could fly. I could make a lot of things. Now if we spill this thing over. It may still bounce. But it also glides. Look at that. It's just a sliding like it's on some Vaseline or something. Let's see. Pause simulation. And in the truck you'll go. Okay, Dorothy, it's time. Today is your time. Your time to shine. I remember when I did pest control, one time I got behind on my pest control route. I was real far behind. And they're like, you know, you got the weekend to shine. Talking about if I'm going to keep my job, I basically got to work Saturday and Sunday. Well, I didn't shine very much. I say I ain't working on Sunday too. That's too much damn work. How crazy. Yeah, this is what I wanted. I wanted them to slide around like that. Just slide, 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 Clyde. This must have been the first Dorothy, the one that the damn tree smacked. Remember that? Yeah, I like that movie, Twister. I did. It was a good movie. I always wondered why they didn't make a sequel. I know they talked about it, but I read like the plot of like what one of the, I guess, proposed one would be, and it pretty much, I think it would have sucked. It's talking about how new tornadoes with this, I don't know, it almost made it seem like the tornadoes have gotten smart and now they have to help the government identify all these strange phenomena. Yeah, it sounded really hokey. That's probably why they didn't make it. Damn, dude, you really can't drive. Can't drive for shit. No wonder you don't make them, many of them YouTube crash videos. You don't know how to damn drive. Well, Dorothy's, here's your chance. This is your moment. Well, she flew all right. Now, I'm going to stop this here. But if anybody really wants to know more about Dorothy, I'll add on to this mod and I will make it look more like the one in the movie. And I will anchor part of the Dorothy can into, no, that ain't going to work. I can't anchor the can or only the balls will come out, but they're not going to come out because they fall down to the bottom. I'd had to make the can really shallow and had the balls at the top, or boxes at the top. But I can add onto this more if you'd like. But I think I'm going to end this video here because I think this is a done deal. Dorothy is ready to fly. I haven't tested it with a tornado yet. That's the only thing. That's what I got to do next. So if you really want to see Dorothy fly, then stay tuned because coming up, Dorothy enters the tornado and breaks the physics and everything else.